All right, welcome everybody to our Monday night Google Hangout. We're going to get started here in just a moment, so please make sure you have pen and paper to take notes. Also, make sure you let your mentor know you are on the call. We're going to get started here in just a moment. And welcome everybody to our Monday night Google Hangout. We're going to get started here in just a moment, so please make sure you have pen and paper to take good notes. Also, make sure you let your mentor know you are on the broadcast. I just want to make sure everybody can see us and hear us. I have a lovely guest on with me tonight. Tonight we are going to go over booking and confirming. So make sure you guys have your pen and paper. And if somebody on my team can let me know that you can see us and hear us, that would be fantastical. So in this way we can get going. All right. 1 second, folks. Just want to make sure we're able to be seen. Okay, thanks, Birgit. Got it. Okay, so we have some new people on watching tonight, as well as Cindy, who's my guest, who is newer to dialing her leads. So I'm going to go over some fundamentals first, and then I'm going to kind of open it up to Cindy because she's newer, and I know she's following the system and what she's been taught. But obviously, as we all know, when we're brand new, we always have questions that maybe aren't answered in training, or you don't know where to find the answer in training. I know I went through a bunch of the training steps numerous times when I first got started, especially a couple key ones that I'll make sure I tell you tonight. The other thing I'm going to do too is show you guys, I'm going to share my screen with y'all and show you a couple things real quick too about how to make sure your contact manager is cleaned up every single day. Because guys, in order to keep an orderly business, just like a normal business opens and closes every day, when you open the doors it's nice and tidy, when you close the doors it's nice and tidy. You want to make sure the same thing is going on in your business too. When you open your doors in the morning, you want to make sure all the prospects are in the proper spots in the contact manager, as well as when you close your business at night, you want to make sure that people are in the proper spots for the next day. Definitely helps keep you more organized, definitely keeps you more sane in what you got to do on a daily basis. I've left it many of times to the point where I don't even remember the person that I talked to because it's been so long. I do not suggest that. So, a couple things first. You want to write down, and Cindy, this is going to be some Q&A for you. So what we're going to do is go over some fundamentals. So for number one, what, Cindy, would you say for dial sessions, what is a part-time and full-time dial session average that you should have on a daily basis?
Well, let me see. You mean hours?
So that's a great question, actually. That is a very good question. Now, the way that our dial sessions work, and guys, the 1 hour schedule, you want to write this one down. The 1 hour schedule is in Working TP Prospects. I think it's step 5. It's called the 1 hour schedule. Now, what that's going to teach you is like the way to dial your leads. It also goes through that a part-time person, so if you're working this business part-time, you're expected to dial 6 to 8 times per day. So that means at the bottom of the hour, you have that scheduled in your calendar at least 6 times a day. So for example, say 8:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., and then you kind of get it from there, right? So you'd have 6 of those in your calendar every day. Full time is anywhere between 10 and 12 dial sessions per day. Now, one might think, Well, I don't understand why. Well, that's a great question. So the purpose of the dial sessions really are so you're contacting these people multiple times throughout a day, so then either they answer or they call you back. Either way, chances are, though, it's going to be you dialing them and them answering versus them calling you back. I do have people that call me back, don't get me wrong. However, most people, for whatever reason, don't necessarily call you back. That's why we dial. Anthony found that when he was working this online system and working the business and figuring out what made the most sense and what worked and what didn't work, that literally the dial session structure was the #1 thing that made the business successful. So if the #1 thing you get down in this organization, in this business, is the dial session structure and the dial sessions themselves, then that's like 50% of it. Because by getting the people booked, that means that you get to their SU1, you're getting them excited, preferred to be booked within 24 to 48 hours, and then that just means a higher turnover for you bringing people into the business. So part-time, 6 to 8 dial sessions per day, full-time, 10 to 12. Okay, so then the next thing I wanted to go over is the dial session itself. So, Cindy, if you had to say, what would you say is the sequence in what you do your dial session? So, who would you dial first, second, third in that 30-minute time slot?
Your buyer leads in the first half hour and your email leads in the second half hour.
Close. So typically the second half hour, so like the top of the hour, are you talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So typically the top of the hour is when we do our SU1s or SU2s or business planning calls or product checking calls, something that's not part of the dial session.
Right.
So the dial session itself, and this is also in the 1 hour schedule as well in working TP prospects. And guys, trust me, I probably watched that training like a lot. Ask Heidi. I probably watched that training and she probably sent me back to it a lot because it took me a little bit to get used to it. So I completely understand. I was there too. But the thing I can tell you is this, it's almost like if you follow your contact manager all the way down, that's the order that you dial. So you would start with your buyer leads. Now, if you're working just a Call Me Lead plan, that's totally different. But if you're working a buyer lead plan, you would dial your TP buyer leads first, then your any appointment confirmations you have for the next day, so you 24-hour confirm those folks. Then any rebooks, if you have any, which hopefully you don't, because our goal is 0 2-books and 0 rebooks. And then at the end of all of that, then you do your email leads. So TP buyer leads first, confirmation second, rebooks third, email leads fourth. Now, in a 30-minute time slot, that kind of sounds like it's a lot. Like, you want me to get through how many of those people in 30 minutes? But I'll be honest with you, I've worked my plan, I've helped dial teams plans. You'd be surprised how quickly you can dial in 30 minutes. So you want to keep it to 30 minutes, and then you want to start all the way at the top again. So after your first dial session for the day and you leave your voicemails, dial session number 2, you're going to start right back at the top, blocking your number, and you're going to go down the list again. And then as you book people and as you confirm people, then those people obviously come off your dial session. Make sense? Does that kind of clear it up for you a little bit, Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, the next thing I want to go over.
So I do have a question, though. I do have a question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So we have a buyer lead, and the person is totally not interested, and we've called them and talked to them a couple times. They go on to our email leads. So do we continue to call them, or do we just leave them alone? I noticed that happened on one of mine.
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay.
So I actually will still call them.
Okay.
And because it's a different script you're using, so maybe for some reason the 2-book script was something that, and if you haven't had an SG1 with a person and that person nips out, then that's something that you also want to come back to for yourself, meaning taking a look at you and seeing how it is you're sounding, because a nip is a non-interested prior. What that is somebody who hasn't gone to the information, hasn't gone through the information, and hasn't been to a sign-up call 1 yet to make an educated decision on if this is or isn't for them. That's pretty much coming from the person booking the appointment, because either the person is talking too fast or isn't sounding excited, or the person on the other end isn't feeling something that they need to feel in order to feel good about getting to the appointment. With that being said, though, I do still call my email leads if they do nip out, or even if I have somebody that was a non-interested on an SG1 and I put them in the email leads, I'll still call them with that script, because I mean, they should know what kind of emails they're getting, and they should know what we're doing for them in the business based off those email scripts. So pretty much until they tell me to go pound salt, I call them.
Okay.
Question, absolutely. All right, now what I do want to do real quick, let's see, time check. I got like 10 minutes. Let me screen share. Let me screen share myself here. Screen share, entire screen. Oh, and then click share demo. Okay. So there's 2 things I want to show you. Once it catches up with itself. And hopefully it does. So while it's catching up with itself, though, guys, what I want to make sure you guys are also clear on when it comes to dial sessions is in the dial session reporting. Now, the reason this is critical is because Bruce, can you tell me if you're seeing my GPS office or not, please? Or somebody send me a text to tell me if you can see my GPS office, because it's showing black on my side, like just a black screen.
It's showing me.
Okay, I can do this then.
It's showing a screen, but it's showing it like 8 times.
Oh, I think it got stuck when it decided to. Okay, so I guess screen sharing is not going to happen today. Okay, no problem. I tried. You know, technology works when it wants to work, so no problem. Okay, thanks, Bruce. So, oh, it's a Hall of Mirrors. Yeah, it just didn't want to do it tonight. Okay, no problem. So then, two things. Number one, when you guys are doing dial sessions. Now, I know one thing I had to get really used to was reporting my dial sessions. The reason we report our dial sessions is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's to hold you accountable to doing your dial sessions. I know at the very beginning for me, one of the hardest things I had was understanding a dial session. Understanding when to start it, understanding when to stop it, understanding it in general. So by reporting my dial sessions to Heidi, then she could coach me and guide me as to, if for example, if she didn't see a dial session from me all day long, she'd send me a message saying, hey, I haven't seen a dial session report from you all day, and you have X amount of 2 books. And then I would tell her, like, oh, well, whatever, I dialed them twice today. Well, how is she supposed to know? And then she also would help. I mean, we're all here in this together, so we're here to help out our teams and help each other. But if there's no communication as to the number of dial sessions you have for the day or the number that you've done already, and if you have a high 2-book number and we don't know it, then we don't know how to help. So the thing you guys want to get used to is at the end of your dial session, and everybody on this broadcast should have a example of what the dial session report should look like. If you don't, then send a message to your mentor or to me and let me know, so then this way I can get you what that dial session report looks like. So then this way you can start doing it. At the end of your dial session is when you want to be reporting them. So then this way, guys, you're staying consistent, you're being accountable for your own business, and then we as coaches and mentors know what to do in order to help you guys. The thing I wanted to do was show you how to move people in your contact manager. I think what I'll do on Wednesday is actually just do a whole training on that, as well as your pack tracker. And hopefully my screen will share that day. Because making sure that that's cleaned up is going to be super important for you guys. So I think I'm going to do a whole day about that. Do you think that would help you, Cindy? Do you know how to move people through your contact manager?
Not really. I mean, I went through it once, but it would be helpful to go through it again.
Okay. No worries. So I think that's what I'm going to do on Wednesday. So then this way I can help all you new folks, as well as, I mean, there's some folks, and me included, I'm not going to lie, when you don't keep stuff up to track and up to date, it's painful. So let's make sure we nip that and make sure everybody is clear on how to do that. So then this way every morning when we're looking at our businesses, because guys, every single morning I look at our whole organization's businesses and see if everybody's on track, who I need to help for that day, if there's people that are lingering in sections that don't need to be there, why have they not been moved, or what do we need to do to get them moved. So I think I'm going to do that on Wednesday for you guys. And then, so those were the two things I wanted to cover real quick. Now, Cindy, I know since you're a newer dialer, I know we kind of went over a lot of information on this call today, or on this broadcast, so this will actually be available for everybody on the /Kim until Wednesday when we re-up the new one. But is there anything that, say, you're coming across or you're unclear about that you think would help some of the newer folks, or even obviously you in general too?
Well, there's just so much. There's just so much to learn with many different areas that it's just hard to take in. And you can take as many notes as you want, but until you get in there and actually do it on a regular basis, it's just kind of hard to just like put it all in your head. That's kind of the problem I'm having. I mean, I've went over it, I've listened to it, but it's still, I'm like asking questions all the time because I just can't remember it all.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I totally understand that. And you know, guys, we don't want you, obviously, we don't want you to be afraid to ask questions by all means. Goodness. That's why we're here to help you guys and train you guys. And it definitely can feel overwhelming at the very beginning. What I can tell you helped me, number one, and probably the thing that helped save like all the confusion I had, was going back to that 1 hour schedule. For whatever reason, that was the one that helped me the most because it helped me organize what I was supposed to do on my dial session. Because I felt, and I feel like a lot of the questions we get as mentors is, I don't understand how to do a dial session. Like, I don't, I'll have people that think a dial session consists of just dialing once for all. Say you have 15 books. They think one dial session for all 15 people is their 15 dial sessions for the day, and in actuality, it's one dial session for all 15 people. Plus, you're still missing your email leads and all the other stuff that kind of mushes into there too. So if you go over the 1 hour schedule, I went over it honestly probably once a day when I was new, and that's what helped me understand. And then obviously asking questions, and with reporting my dial sessions too, it was huge in me understanding, because in this way, Heidi, who had been doing it at the time 8 years, obviously she had it under her buckle. So anything I would report in my dial session, if something didn't look right, it was either because I reported it wrong or I actually didn't, I didn't understand how to do it. So she'd help correct me then, versus me doing it for days and days and days and not letting her know. And then we get to the point where it's like, well, if you told me this 4 days ago, I could have helped you 4 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And no question's a dumb question, that's for sure. So always ask questions. That's the only way any of us learn, especially in something new that we're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. And is there anything else that stands out that you think would help any new folks outside of just the feeling, the holy cow, this is something new and I have to get used to it and learn it?
Just what script to read? What script should we be reading for the email people? Yeah, there is the one that was in the scripts, but you said that there was a different one.
Yes. So everybody should have. Heidi had sent out an email. I had sent it out. Kim had sent it out. So you should have it somewhere. If for some reason you don't, and Cindy, I think I sent it to you.
I think you said you were going to, but I think you didn't.
That's very.
Because I don't remember getting it.
Okay. I'll send it as soon as we're off here. If you guys don't have the newer, where did mine go? It's in my book. I don't have it like right in front of me. There is a new confirmation script. It actually has been working really, really well because it kind of books an appointment on the confirmation call. So you would only get it via email. I don't think it's up in resources yet. So if you guys need that and you don't have it, then either let me or whoever your enroller is know. Cindy, I'll get it to you right after this broadcast.
Okay.
And then this way, that's the one you want to be using for your confirmation scripts, for your confirmation calls, for your email scripts. That's a great question.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, good. Well then, guys, with that being said, I want to thank Cindy. Oh, by the way, tell everybody where you're from, Cindy, and why you started your business.
I'm from Albany, Oregon, and I started my business because I needed something to do and I needed to have some money. And I needed to get healthy. My body's broke down, so I just needed to get healthy.
Well, and tell everybody, because we do have some new folks on this broadcast tonight, tell everybody your amazing product story.
I had acid reflux for a long, long time, and I started drinking the Vima. And the very first day that I drank it, my acid reflux went away, and I haven't had any problems since. And my niece, who I gave the Vima to, she's had nightmares for years, and she started drinking the Vima, and her nightmares have went away.
No
And she
way!
had really bad nightmares, and they went away.
That's so awesome!
I know, it really is. So
How old's your niece?
she's 34.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So it is. It really is, because she's had them so bad for years that, yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. Well, you know, I know you know how excited I am for you with your product story, because I know how bad acid reflux can be, and it's life-changing when you don't have that type of issue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And for your niece, that's absolutely amazing. Honestly, that's a product story I have never heard before. I've heard people that have slept better on it, yeah, like that have like restless leg and stuff, but not nightmares. So that's really cool.
Yeah, she's never slept through the night before, and now she sleeps through the night. I mean, ever since she was in high school, I mean, she's just always had that problem. And I just gave her some samples just to see, and she's just hooked on the stuff already.
That's so great. Well, tell her that we're super excited for her. Now she gets a good night's rest.
Yeah, now I get to pay for it.
Well, that's no problem, because what we'll do is with your story alone, you guys, now with your niece's story, that's going to spread like wildfire, and you'll be amazed how many people are going to be knocking down your door wanting the product, because when you're able to change a physical ailment that you have that nothing else is able to change it for you, I mean, goodness. Well, awesome. Well, I'm super excited for you in your business as well as your product story. Tell your niece, awesome. And then,
I will.
awesome. And then thanks again for being on with me tonight and helping the new folks answer any questions that they may have. And guys, just remember, we're totally here to help you out. So anything you need, any time of the day, you have my IM, my number, your enroller. So please, by all means, just let us know what you need help with. And let's get our 2 books and rebooks, if we have any, down to 0. And with that being said, we'll talk to you all Wednesday night. Have a great night.